Well, the Badgers decided to test the emergency broadcast system because that was a disaster. Let's stick around. Let's unpack it. For those that stuck around and watched the whole game, you might qualify for hazard pay. Let's unpack it.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single day, win, loss, or indifferent. Appreciate you being here. I'm your host, Ryan Ayers. We got Curtis Holland over here as well, jumping on the reaction show. There's not a whole lot to gloss over on this one. Good stuff. I do have to tell you, today's episode is brought to you by our great friends over at Mazda. Like every player, Mazda sweats every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned for later in this week's Moving the Game Forward Mazda highlights. Move and be moved. All right, man. I'm competitive. I'm prepared. This was one of the worst Badger games that I, as a fan, can remember watching. It feels like this is as low as it's gotten under Fickle. I don't know how you fix this.
Yeah, I mean, we were sitting in here watching the game, and I'm thinking to myself, I cannot tell if this was worse or not than the Illinois loss when Chris got fired the next day. I mean, it feels the same way. And, I've been someone who's been super high on this program. I've been high on Fickle. I've been high on a lot of the moves. And to a degree, I think on paper, I don't think our analysis were wrong. But when you watch this team play, they don't look prepared. They don't look developed. They don't look strong. I mean, it's just like I think today you saw a team that came out and just it didn't know what it was, didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know if it wanted to be there. And you can't have that 3 years into a 10-year, no matter how you slice it, no matter what we've said in the past. That's just you just can't have that.
I was talking to somebody actually we were here with Zach and Justin too, and I was telling them it's almost the mental mistakes are almost worse. It's like you just get whipped physically, like because you're not good enough. That's one thing. But blocked punt, blocked field goal, no tempo. Jeff Grimes calling the most ridiculous plays at times. Jeff Grimes went in his bag, like deep in his bag at times. In an unnecessary way. It just felt like this team wasn't prepared at all for a game that they absolutely needed to win.
Yeah. And I mean, it's the thing that was getting me is you see receivers running away from DBs. You see receivers on our team on the offside of the field not running all the way. It's just this is a game to me where I look at the state of this program and I look at like what we're trying to do and where we're trying to compete in the NIL era. And this to me is not a serious effort. It's just it doesn't look professional. It doesn't look put together. It doesn't look like it's a team that wanted to be there today. And I know those are harsh words, but sometimes you gotta call it like it is. And I think that ultimately, if Wisconsin wants to be a program that can compete at the highest level and wants to be able to elevate its game, this is a performance that you can never have. And I don't know really what to say other than that. Where do we go from here? I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot more noise around Fickle on the hot seat moving forward. Obviously there's going to be a lot more noise around the players we're bringing in, the talent, the development. All these things are going to come under scrutiny. We got 2 weeks before the Michigan game. We were all excited last night. Iowa looked like they had some struggles. Minnesota had some struggles last week. It looks like we trump all those team struggles right now. And again, you guys know how positive I am about this team and, how I look at a lot of the X's and O's, a lot of the things that we do on the margins that I think can allow us to be successful. And it just seems that everything that I thought that, hey, like if they just do this, if they improve a little bit here, if they work on their strength and conditioning here, if they work on their X's and O's here, and we get just normal, just regular development that we've seen for 20, 30 years of Wisconsin football, we're going to be okay. Well, it seems like everywhere along that line, we've just regressed. And that's where, at the end of the day, it's tough to really take. And quite frankly, it's frustrating. And it's made me have a lot of bad takes. I got to own them today, but, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I want to go to some of the bad takes to own some of them. Smo, by the way, says, I had yard work today. The game's still going. Go back to do yard work, Smo.
Yeah.
Keep mowing the lawn.
Keep doing it. Hunter Simmons might have led the team in passing by the end of the game.
Gosh, help you, Smo. Yeah. Continue doing whatever you're doing. Do not tune in. Realist says, Ryan, Rajiv, and Justin are always so delusional. I won't be surprised if they still think this is a 7-8 win team. Listen, I'm going to own it. Like, I was wrong. It's as simple as that. But why are you mad at me? Like, that's the thing. Why are you upset with Ryan, Rajiv, and Justin? Be mad at the offensive line not blocking. Be mad at, be mad at our special teams giving up 10 points. Be mad at, I don't think they should have played Billy. Billy wasn't physically ready. Which means this entire week you probably spent repping both guys when Billy went out and got hurt right away. When that could have been reps for Danny. That would have been a lot better for this game. Don't be mad at me. Like, I'm not out there, dude. But yeah, no, I was wrong. Like, straight up wrong. And I own that. The receipts are there. I don't run from that stuff. That's why I'm going live right after the game, because good or bad, we're going to be here every game. But it sucks, man.
I own it.
I mean, it's, yeah.
I said that if he lost this game, that I would be calling for his head. And I'm doing that right now. I will freely admit this isn't good enough. You haven't shown enough growth. You don't appear to seem like you have ideas and like answers to what you're trying to deal with. I think that at this point you need to make a change, because I don't know what game you look at on the remainder of the schedule. If this is the effort you get against a Maryland team that's number 3, third weakest game probably on the schedule, I don't know if you win another game going the rest of the season. And if that's the case, I don't care what the buyout is. You hit December 1st, you've got to make the change.
Well, and that's the thing. I wanted to say this too, because it feels to me like this is not a game where talent was the issue. This is not a game where there's zero reason on any level, on any metric on paper, that we should have lost this game the way we did. I think this was entirely an effort thing, focus thing, game plan thing. This was a logistical thing. It had nothing to do with the talent we have. It had nothing to do with the athletes we have. This was a game that we could and probably should have won or been much more competitive than we were. And so that's why for me, when I look at this, it's less about the player. It's more about just everything behind it, right? And like I said, I've been a staunch Fickle supporter. I've been a staunch defender of the program, but right now I'm looking at the program and there's no answers.
Well, yeah, I mean, we just got to be honest with it too, right? Like this is Wisconsin. I mean, Maryland, this was a 10-point favorite. You had Maryland at home against a freshman quarterback, and you got blasted. Like, you scored a late touchdown, but we were down 20-3, and we were in there, and we were continuing to like, oh, maybe they need a little juice here, but they're incapable of manufacturing anything on this team right now that can turn the tide against a team. Let's be honest, Maryland is a mid-Big Ten team.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the fact that you brought up play calling, and you and I agree with this when we were watching it, is you have a young offensive line, and you have a lot of guys who are not drilled a ton and aren't very experienced, and yet the play calling is a lot of deception, a lot of oddball type stuff that you have a bunch of young guys who probably aren't ready for that level yet. And number one, you haven't proven you can run block as it is. We talked about it throughout the entire game. I was saying just run the ball 4 or 5 times in a row here. Get these young guys getting comfortable and just run blocking at this point so they can do it. Instead, you're running reverse throwbacks and stuff like that in the middle of the game. It's like you're taking all the continuity out of the offense on this.
You didn't like the direct snap to Yak to pitch it to Danny
to pitch it to Danny for the pass? No, I did not.
They weren't expecting it. I'm saying I wasn't expecting
Danny O'Neal.
Yeah,
I'd say this. Like, I think some of it's a reflection of. I think obviously Grimes felt limited offensively, so he felt like he had to manufacture some big plays through play calling and scheme.
Running Ben Johnson from Detroit's offense, and you don't really have the talent or the continuity to be doing something like that.
We got Zach here too.
If this is your most winnable game, where do you go from here?
That's a good question.
Where do you go from here? Because this, for me, watching this, it felt like the Illinois loss that got Chris fired. I didn't feel happy, sad, mad. I just kind of was just blankly watching it, feeling nothing.
I told you where we
Is it the Illinois loss? Going around the corner, is it better or worse? Same.
So I think the Illinois loss to me was way more shocking because it was just it felt so out of the blue from everything we'd seen from Chris up to that point. Not that it wasn't basically the telltale sign of like things that had been happening behind the scenes. And again, looking back on this, it's really easy to sit back and say, we never should have fired Chris. We all should have hired Leonard, blah, blah, blah. It's easy to say that. In retrospect, none of the calls that we made, I think, were bad calls. I think that Chris was at the end of his rope. I think that hiring Fickle when we hired him, coming off a playoff run, having just developed a bunch of guys from Cincinnati in the NFL, those aren't great looks on paper, but that's kind of what this entire time has felt like. Everything has looked really, really good on paper, but we have yet to see that translate into anything tangible. And so that's where, you start to sit back and you think to yourself, like, am I going crazy? Because I'm seeing the same thing you guys are seeing. I'm watching the same practice reports. I'm seeing the reports from strength training and guys getting stronger and things like that. And here's something I'm going to say. This has been my biggest bugaboo for the last, since basically this season started, since the Miami game. I don't think this team is stronger or more developed than they were 3 years ago. I don't see improvement. Hallman has gotten worse every single year. I hate to call people out, directly, but we've seen him regress. We've seen, Malman basically stagnate. We've seen Brunner struggle a lot this season. So guys who have been here, been in the program, come through a little bit, have seemingly at minimum stagnated. You don't see the sophomores taking a leap. You don't see people getting bigger and stronger in size. You see our line getting thrown off the ball. You see, Dupree and Jones getting tackled behind the line and getting ragdolled. I mean, these are things that would have never happened in previous regimes. And this is the kind of thing where I look at that and I say, everything we do is hard. Like you watch Maryland move the ball today, and they're running, little out routes, they're running hooks, they're running, just little things, and then they're running play action passes, and their receivers are running past our DBs.
Yeah.
Like that to me is insane. We've never seen that before. And that's where I'm just sitting back. I'm like, I don't know. And I will take a step back and say, I think a lot of this game was also mental. There is an element of, I think the team, I don't want to say that they quit like last year, but it was more like they resigned themselves to defeat. And I don't know if that's better or worse than quitting just in general, but that's what you saw today.
There was major mental issues today. That pass you gave up that split the safeties.
And it was open from the start, like off the line. It was open the whole time. You could see it.
He could have 3 seconds. He could.
Well, it's just an inexcusable play, though. Like, do you know what they're doing? They're trying to get deep. That's the only chance they have to score before half, and you let one receiver split your safeties. It's inexcusable stuff like that. We do have to take a quick second. We're going to come back. There's a lot of people in the chat frustrated with me. I see some of them. Like one guy's
they're not more frustrated with me. I've always been more positive than you. That's crazy.
One guy's asking,
why are you going after him?
Who signs your paycheck, Ryan? You need more accountability. Like, dude, again, I didn't lose the game.
All we're doing is attacking this.
All right, we got to take 1 second. We are going to ask the question next. What comes next?
Well, I want to finish the last question you asked you.
We have to take a break.
Okay, take a break.
All right, we're going to come right back.
Yeah.
We're going to come back. We have to take a quick break for our friends of the show. Appreciate everybody being here. What comes next for the Badgers? Not just this season, but big picture. That's coming up next, plus a bunch of your starred comments. The rest of the show is going to be your comments and your thoughts. Throw them in there. We'll put them up, and we'll talk about it. That's coming up next, Locked On Badgers. First, today's episode brought to you by Mazda. Mazda is moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. These are the moments that do more to put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is
discombobulated. The word of the day.
I'd say this week's
good time spent with friends watching a football game. That was the moment that we all moved forward.
I'll say this, man. I respect the hell out of Danny O'Neil for the toughness. I think if nothing else, he does put his heart into this, and it matters to him. I'm going to say he moved the team forward, trying to be a leader. You saw him trying to fire up the crowd. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle, Mazda move and be moved. Today's episode also brought to you by our great friends over at Wayfair. Wayfair is the place to go fall season to cozyfy your house. Comforters, beddings, linens, fall decor, whatever it is, you can find all that over on Wayfair. That's where I get all my stuff. Reviews, pictures, it's incredible over at wayfair.com. Quick shipping, easy instructions to get everything to your place, put together, reviews, great prices. Wayfair is what we use to build our house out and make it a little cozy. Cozyfy your space with Wayfair's curated collection of easy, affordable fall updates for comfy recliners, cozy bedding, and autumn decor. You'll find it for way less at wayfair.com. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. All right, let's get back into this. And guys, in the chat, let us know too. I'm going to kick it around here. What's next? Like, what comes next?
I'll go first, and I'm going to answer your last question about whether this was a worse loss than the Illinois loss. In my opinion, this is worse, and the reason for that is we had seen Brett Bielema be a top-shelf Big Ten coach. We've never seen that from Mike Locksley. So, looking at this game, you lost to a coach that you should be better than theoretically on a weekly basis. You didn't show that today, and in fact, you got just destroyed by a team that had a freshman quarterback, like we said.
A team that we got our quarterback from in the portal that the coach openly admitted that he lost the team last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's rough.
So going forward, I mean, you wait for December 1st and see if you can talk some people into paying buyout. But if we're talking about the team, realistically what they need to do is they need to go back to basics and just get good at something, because you're getting way too cute on offense. You got to dumb it down and just learn to run the football again. And honestly, the best passing play calling that I saw was at the end with Simmons. There was a lot of short outs, a lot of, hitch and go type stuff like we were doing in the other games. For whatever reason, we got really cute with some of the passing game that we had in this one. And it was just a bad play to get way too in your bag on it. Sometimes you just want to work your way down the field. I don't care if you run the hitch and go or the hitch route 5 straight times. If it's there, keep taking it until they take it away from you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just think about we're going into the bye week now. The noise is going to be incredibly loud. Looking at just this season, who knows what the future holds. All I'm going to say is, can you block that out and continue to improve? Because we need to improve at every point of the game right now. We need to improve on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. We need to improve at quarterback. We need to improve at running back. Everybody needs to get better. Can you tune out the noise, no matter what that noise is, for the short term, for the time being, in order to just get better and see where we go from here? Because I do think, to you guys' point, we talked about this a little bit off the air, there's going to be a lot of changes going in next year, one way or the other. And, what can we get better at today? We have 8 more games. We're getting a bye right now. Some guys can get back healthy. We get some things more organized. But again, it's just at this point, to Justin's point, it's the little things. It's running on just basic stuff. Getting our 3 redshirt freshman linemen in queue so that they can actually execute on the plays they need to execute on, right? Basic stuff like that. We don't need to run crazy back and forth plays when we can't do the little things correct, right? And I get why Grimes feels the need to want to stress these misdirections, these reverses, these trick plays, because he knows he's not getting the push he needs from an offensive line in order to run the ball effectively. He knows, he's limited at what some of the athletes he has on the outside are, but you still have to do that. That's still the basics of the offense. Trick plays don't work if they don't respect your regular offense, right? So that's where I think,
it was a little too much too.
Yeah, and that's where I think that we need to really focus on. And honestly, at this point, it's just basics.
I would say going forward, this is where I'm at. And I know a lot of people in chat are asking him where I'm at in terms of Fickle. And that's a fair question. I'm just going to be I'm going to be really honest with you guys. And you can like it or not. I think the rest of the season is now kind of an addition to see what he does. I'm not right now going to say fire Fickle. And people in the chat, again, I'm just being dead ass honest with you. You can like it, dislike it. This is a place for every single person to throw their opinions into it. But I think the rest of the season, you're taking a hard look at how this team responds. Jim Mandel had a comment up there that said, let's see what the character on this team is. I mean, you have the rest of this year, and this is not good enough. This is just quite simply black and white. College football is a big business. This isn't good enough for Wisconsin. This is not the standard here. And to come to this and to love this program so much, man, I've been a Badger fan my whole life. There's people getting apathetic, and you can see it around me. People talking about this doesn't even hurt that much anymore. It just feels expected. I had somebody text me connected to the program last week, and they said, I'm just saddened by the fact that I don't expect anything anymore. That's where this thing is starting to head. And so I think the rest of this season, we just need to take a look at how it finishes and how it plays out. And there might have to be some really hard discussion at the end of the year, which is not where I thought I'd be at this point in the season at all. But
no, I mean, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's kind of blown my mind too. And like I said, I've tried to look at everything I could going into this thing, and I think practicing against ourselves, you don't really learn as much as you really want to going into the season. Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting for those of you deep dive in the Locked On Badgers. Know I'm a Bears fan. If I told you I had more faith in the Bears to win on Sunday than I did on the Badgers moving forward the rest of the season, that should give you an idea as to where my head's at.
Let me answer this one quick. John says, Ryan, I know who signs your paycheck at this group. Have the guts to identify me. I value your input because it's honest. Stop dancing around it. I honestly don't know what you want from me, John. I don't know what you want from me.
I just want you to say that you were wrong about the Badgers being good.
But I did.
Yeah,
I was.
That's all he wants you to say.
Right? I was, and I am. I own my receipts. Don't go anywhere. I don't delete any podcast or take. I was wrong. I don't know what more you want from me, John.
I'm aware of who signs Ryan's paychecks because I used to work with him. It's not Wisconsin Badgers.
It is not. They
didn't even spell his name right on the pass.
I know. They give me
a
media.
That's crazy. Media credential. They didn't even get his name.
All right, let's jump into comments. I'm going to throw some of these to each of you. We don't have time to do every comment roundtable, but let's go to this one here. Zach Gus Bus says 3-9 team if Wisconsin 3-9 team going forward. What do you think?
I just don't know where you go forward from here. This was your most winnable game. You were 10-point favorites coming into today, and you just laid a monstrous egg. Where do you go from here? Because, you put up this against anyone, you ain't winning another game. You act like this and play like this, you're not going to win another game.
So 3-9?
I don't know. I'm on the apathetic train where it's I just don't know what to expect, and I just don't want to put any expectations on it because I just don't want to get my hopes up or be let down. I'm pretty much where I was at the end of Chris, where it's I'm just here kind of watching it.
Speaking of all Chris,
Very
Curtis,
apathetic.
Ryan says this is 10 times worse than what got Chris fired.
I
So
think they're pretty much in lock.
so I was at that game, the last game he had before he got fired, and what I will say is the feeling is the same. It feels the same. It felt like that team. It felt like that team. There was nothing we were going to do that was going to win us that game, and which is a feeling that you should have never felt playing a Bielema, Illinois team. Bielema was our coach. Quite frankly, he's not really changed that much. I think he's in a much better life situation than he was when he was a Badger coach here, but he's still the same coach, and he has the same flaws, he has the same mistakes. And I think that ultimately watching us lose to a team like that in that fashion, the way we did at home, getting 2 yards. I mean, we got more yards rushing today. That's kind of crazy, but it's just one of those things where it's like it felt the same way. I can't necessarily say that one is different than the other than the fact that you had mentioned before, Justin, that Maryland is a team that's never really been a solid Big Ten program. And that's where I look at this and say, how far have we fallen? Are we really looking at, we'll try to smooth over the edges and say, hey, we're bringing in some great players. We got some guys with heart that coming up from lower levels to do these things. It's one of those things where it's like, I think the talent's just overmatched. And I don't think that we're prepared well enough with the guys that we have. I don't think the guys that we need to have healthy are healthy enough in order to actually make us competitive at a even mid-tier level in the Big Ten at the moment.
Justin, Gus Buzz says this team, in fact, gave up.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that today. I think you could see that starting about the early fourth quarter that the effort level was significantly different between the two teams. Maryland guys were getting some backups in that were finishing their runs and stuff like that on offense and really playing their butts off. And you'd watch Wisconsin guys hang their heads as soon as they got done with the play. Like there was no fire left anymore.
Jeff says, I'll take this one. If anyone on this podcast uses injuries as an excuse for losing 27-3 at home, they are clearly delusional. Not happening here.
No, it's not because of injuries. My comment
zero
is
to do with that.
No, and my comment is just that the fact that all of our best players over the last 3 years have been injured is a systematic issue.
But I would say this too: injuries are part of football. Like you have to build depth, you have to be insulated against it. This is not injuries. Maryland is starting multiple true freshmen. Yeah. Their quarterback, defensive lineman. This is not injuries. If you lose a tight game and you've been competitive all year, then you can point to Billy was out. You got waxed.
And think about Vegas factored this in. Vegas already knows these things. We were 10-point favorites, right?
A couple more injury ones here, 5 more ranked games. We talked about Ryan being wrong a lot. There's a lot of that.
Y'all need to go easy on Ryan. He is by far not the most optimistic one out of everybody.
Eric says 2-10, no doubt. Where Kenny Mack, Zach, you talk about this a lot. Where's the fight in the team?
Great question.
I'm watching.
Here's a
philosophical question for you guys. Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that comes from the staff? Is that a strength and conditioning thing?
I think it's the head. I mean, and here's what I was going to say about that. I mean, the thing is, what I thought I saw today, because they asked, did the team quit? I don't know if the team quit, but what I will say is it felt like the leadership quit and the team didn't know what to do.
Yeah,
that's how I would describe it.
Captain abandoned ship.
It looked like the team was almost running without a leader. I don't know how many people. Somehow, no one in this group has ever watched Band of Brothers. I asked Ryan; he's in the military, never seen Band of Brothers. There's a scene in Band of Brothers where the commanding officer is ordered to attack a town, and he folds. He can't do it. He's incapable of running forward. And Winters, Colonel Winters has to call up Spears, who's a NCO, to basically go and take over and run the ship. We were in desperate need of a Spears today. I hope some people get that reference because Band of Brothers, phenomenal. You guys all need to watch. That's your homework. Other than that, that's what it felt like. I felt like we needed someone to step up and be a leader, and we didn't see that. On the side of the ball and from whatever staff.
As an homage to Ryan, I will say that we are rudderless right now. And that's what we're looking for. We're spinning it. We're going in circles.
Too much cavitation been caught, dude.
The captain abandoned ship.
Yeah. All right, we'll take one more quick break. We'll get rest of your comments coming up next. Finish off the show. Again, really do appreciate everybody being here. That's the great thing with this community, man. It's win, lose, or indifferent. We're always going to be here. We're always going to be positive to at least each other for the most part, except me. I trailed off at the end. All right, we're going to take one more quick second for our friends of the show. Really do appreciate everybody tuning in as always. Today's episode also brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots have Square. And listen, I'm from Cumberland, Wisconsin, the greatest small town in Wisconsin, as I've talked about many times. We've got Louis Finer Meats. We've got Bona Casa, the best Italian chicken and cheese ravioli you will get outside of Venice. You're not going to find another place like it. That's where the neighborhood comes together. It's those little places. Square powers those little neighborhood spots. Right now, if you head over to square.com/go/lockedoncollege, you're going to be able to see everything that they're a proud partner for. More than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world run on Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots, go visit them. You'll be happy you did. Square, stay in the neighborhood. Today's episode also brought to you by our good friends over at DoorDash. Listen, you deliver our, teams deliver every Saturday. Again, it's hard for me to do some of these ad reads when we played like this. But I'll tell you this.
Hunter Simmons got a touchdown.
Hunter Simmons delivered
he
this Saturday.
He might have led the team in passing yards today. So.
He absolutely delivered this Saturday, just like DoorDash delivers every single Saturday. And the more you order, the more you get from DoorDash. You build up your streaks, and you can save big time money with DoorDash Streaks, delivering every single Saturday. Save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18. I want to just kind of ask you guys this point blank, and I'm just going to be blunt on it. And I want your answers in the chat too, Mike. If you can, throw some of these answers in and get them. Is Badger fans in the community, people on the show, are you guys out on Fickell? Period, done. You are fully out. You would like to see the team move on.
Yes. I think we've seen 3 years of it, and I have yet to see a game where I felt like we have locked in on a game plan and we understand what we're trying to execute, and we're going out there and doing it. It doesn't have to look perfect. It can look rough while you're doing it, but you can at least understand what's trying to be accomplished. I have yet to have a game where I felt like, hey, we seem like we know what we're doing, and it may not be perfect yet, but this is going to get better with time. And it feels like every game I've watched this season, we've kind of been moving in circles, or slight step forward, slight step back, and we move in another direction because something's not working the way we want it to. And it feels like, I know we've talked about this. I brought this up during the game earlier with you guys. I said, Fickell being a CEO coach, this is where the problem is. He doesn't have a real true tie to either any type of scheme. And it feels like that because it doesn't feel like he has anything that he believes in, that he's like, we need to do this. And this is my bread and butter. And this is what we're going to go to. And if you don't have your offensive and defensive coordinator, that type of coordinator, then you're going to have problems because everyone's kind of looking at each other being like, what's the best way to handle this?
Yeah, I think I'm also out, and for a lot of the reasons that Justin just mentioned. The one thing I would throw in there is with Fickell being kind of a GM or CEO kind of a coach, who's getting these guys ready to play? There's no one in there that's really kind of firing these guys up. And today it just looked like they rolled out of bed and kind of just ran through the motions. And Maryland came out with their hair on fire, and they had something to prove, and they came out and they proved it. So, I'm out on him because I just don't know if he can actually have a team up ready to go. It's easy to do it in the American when you can just out-talent everyone. Or, you have coordinators that are now leading Notre Dame to success.
Mm-hmm.
He just did not have anyone ready to go at all. And that's on him. That starts with him. One thing I will say is the one thing that I did love with Chris and his staff, especially Jimmy towards the end, was the game right before he got fired, the Ohio State loss. Going into that game, Jimmy was in the locker room telling guys, whether you win by 100 or win by 1, lose by 1 or lose by 100, it still counts as one win or one loss. So go out there, kick them in the teeth, and give them everything you have. I don't think you have a coach on the staff right now, aside from maybe Brady Collins, that's even trying to fire these guys up remotely. They're all just kind of running out there like it's a business meeting.
Well, what do you think, Curtis?
Yeah, I'm not going to really answer this question directly, but what I will say is this. I think that the thing for me is I'm watching Purdue play Notre Dame at 7-7 right now.
Yeah.
Purdue went down the field and they scored. They matched Notre Dame. Now, I don't think Purdue's going to win. Purdue's not a very good team. But the way that they moved the ball, they moved it in a way that it made it look way easier than anything we've done all season.
They're better this year.
And it's just one of those things where, again, for me, the fact that this is year 3 and every single thing we do on either side of the ball looks laborious, looks difficult, looks like we're outmatched, looks like we're fighting for every single inch, despite our talent, despite the, strength conditioning, despite whatever, is a problem. And I think that, kind of to echo on some of these guys' points, I think the reality is I have yet to see really leadership reflect. I think a lot of our leaders are leading scared. And I think that reflects in how the team plays. And you cannot be successful in anything you do if you're leading scared. And so that's how I'll answer that. I know it's kind of a diplomatic answer, but that's kind of how my answer has to be. So.
Yeah, I already said it. I want to see I just want to see the rest of this year. I want to be very, and we got to get out of here pretty soon, I think, guys, but I want to be very clear I don't want to get into a cycle of hiring and firing people. I've been very clear that I think coaches should get 4 years, barring some type of off-field thing. And I don't think anything you do in the middle of the season is going to make this better. So if that's the case and nothing is going to make it better in the middle of the season, then we should see how the rest of the season plays out. Like, what if he rallies? What if this team does get a lot better? And then we've already said no. I mean,
stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. I mean, I'm a Badger fan that's in a press box doing a Badger podcast overlooking Camp Randall right now. My high school teachers would be shocked at that. I barely graduated. Like, stranger things have happened.
Naval commanders would be shocked at that.
Yeah. So listen, I've been consistent on this. I think you should get 4 years if you're a coach, barring off field stuff. I want to see how the rest of this year plays out. But man, this is as low as I've been on this, and I'm really wavering because this was a game they needed to win, and they came out and looked unmotivated. So unprepared and unmotivated. Mike, any other big time comments you wanted to put up here? I don't think we can say too long in here before they start to want to clean up. Robert Nickel, how big of a difference does a healthy Billy Edwards make? Justin?
I don't know.
If I had to guess, I would say like maybe 27-20. I think Billy looked pretty solid in terms of his throwing and just understanding of what the offense was trying to do in this game. Danny looked a little rattled mentally. I'll be honest.
He also looked beat up physically.
Yeah. And I think Billy is much more experienced and much more locked in with where he needs to go with the football post snap compared to what Danny is. Now, it still probably isn't a win because I think we were sloppy in this game. And even defensively, like we put ourselves in bad spots. And maybe some of that doesn't translate then for Maryland if Billy's in there as opposed to Danny with the turnovers. It doesn't matter. Like, we got outplayed. Like, they played better. Maybe you get lucky and Billy ends up making the team believe a little bit more if he's out there. I think it's too hard to really quantify what difference he makes. From a production standpoint, I don't think Billy was going to go out there and drop 250 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But I do think the offense is better.
Yeah, I mean, and even if you win 24-21, I mean, is that really much different of a conversation? I mean, because this is probably the team, like we said, we had the best chance of winning. The average margin of victory over Maryland over the last, since they've been Big Ten has been 24 points, right? So that's basically what we lost by today. And, I think Billy might have stopgapped a lot of issues, but that still points to systemic problems in the sense that without Billy being able to stopgap those issues, who's a transfer quarterback, who's the only year we've had him, the team itself was not prepared to play a game like this. And again, that just points to greater systemic issues.
Yeah, John, this is a good comment here. What's Billy going to do with that offensive line? If he's probably going to get hit a lot too.
Yeah. I will say the only one major caveat I'll say about the offensive line, it did start to break down at the end of the game in the sense of like this became not really a factor and the offensive line itself just sort of collapsed. But you are still playing 3 redshirt freshmen, and I think you saw that again today. I think you saw these are guys that they have a lot of athletic upside, but they're not ready yet, and they shouldn't be in the game. And I think that does play. But at the same time, there is an element of, again, they're not true freshmen. They've had a year in the program. They're smart enough. They go to Wisconsin. They should be able to understand the offense, right? So it's little things like that, right? And I think that still plays in the equation.
What I'll say with regards to that, I do think Billy, some of those hits that O'Neal took were as a result of being indecisive. And he sat in the pocket a little too long, thinking about where he wanted to go with it, trying to make a play, rather than just taking what was there, getting the ball out, and living to play another day.
CL says he won't get 4 years with 40,000 empty seats. Wake up. No, I agree. That's why I said you have to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it becomes an interesting equation. There's a lot of business math.
I brought up December 1st because that's when the buyout drops. So if people are nuts if they think it's going to happen before then, you're not throwing away $11 million because you want to get rid of the guy early.
Basically, there's a lot of money that goes into how this decision is made, and whether or not you can get the money to make that decision actually a thing that you can do is kind of, I don't say it's up in the air because who knows, but it's not something that you can just off the cuff say, screw it, this was a bad game, we lost, fire everybody and call it a day. It doesn't really work like that. And I think that that's something that, I get where the fan sentiment's coming from, but I think they also have to know that there is a logistical aspect to this. And if you think we struggled to pay NIL, you think we struggled, to piece together money to completely pay our roster, you start paying buyouts, you start hiring new coaches. I mean, You're going to start running that issue real fast.
Smo says, I'm Venmoing you you guys 4 IPAs. I don't know what the rest of you guys are going to drink.
I don't know if that's enough. Yeah,
those 4 for me.
I stick to whiskey. Usually.
Those 4 for me. I think this is an important comment because I do think when John Burns says rest of the season. Are you kidding me? I'm watching the Brewers and Packers. UW can't be honest. See ya. The point is, you're not going to fire him and hire anybody in season that makes a difference. There's no.
You're going to work on.
I was going to say some staffs have a guy on staff that can be a coach in weight. Like, are you going to fire him?
Yeah, we almost said that.
You're probably having Grimes. It's probably a Tressel or Grimes is going to be your.
But those are fickle. I mean, Tressel's a fickle
You're
guy.
running the same thing. You're running the same
it's
thing.
not getting better.
Yeah.
anytime soon.
No,
And I do think that
The point is that doesn't solve it.
No,
It doesn't.
Not in season.
at least not for this year.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Maybe wrap it up there again. I don't know how long we can stay here, and I definitely don't want to overstay my welcome. Appreciate all the guys here jumping on. Appreciate everybody in the chat. This sucks. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I don't know sometimes what people want me to get on. I'm not a get on and swear and jump up and down type of guy. I'm just not. And that would be inauthentic. And you guys would know that's inauthentic. So I'm going to tell you how I feel. And it's really, really disappointed in this program. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, yeah. Justin staying off camera for.
Yeah, so it's really disappointing. It's not easy, by the way, to jump on a podcast after a show where you get crushed and talk about a team you love and have to tell a bunch of people I was wrong about thinking a team was going to be good. Like, so it's not. It sucks. It sucks all around. It's a lot more fun to cover a good team.
I was wrong. I flat out admit it.
So appreciate all you guys as always on Wisconsin as always, and we will definitely talk tomorrow because we talk every day and basketball's 48 days away. So on Wisconsin, appreciate you guys, and we will definitely talk later.